So after Elfelt dropped at the end of 2023, we didn't really get any news about what's coming next for Guilty Gear until I want to say around the end of January. So I want to talk about what's next for the game and what I'd like to see for Guilty Gear for the next year or so. We're about halfway through season 3, so we already have 2 characters, and they announced when the next character is coming. So the next character is going to be coming after or at least shown at the Arc Revo World Tour Finals, and this is at the end of March. If you've been keeping up with the game, the tour is pretty much over. The last event is the World Finals. There's going to be a last chance qualifier there, and similar to last year's EVO Japan, they will be showing off the new character, whoever it is. And after that, there will be one more character. The assumption would be around May or June, kind of the same schedule they've been following. So who do I want to see for a character? It's kind of a toss-up. You know, in thumbnails, I always use Abba, for example. That's actually who I played in high school when I wasn't really, I was still on Smash at the time. So I was just playing Abba. She was easy, she was cute, she did a lot of damage, that kind of fits in the game. As usual, I don't really have a preference. I'm kind of leaning towards new character because I'm not going to get in my opinion on exit characters. But again, these are a couple of returning characters, so it would be cool if we saw some new characters added to the game. Also, I'd like some details on the new mode. They've kind of been teasing this new mode, this 3v3 mode. We still don't know if it's like a King of Fighters 3v3, which means you just pick 3 characters against someone else's 3 characters and the meter carries over between the characters. Frankly, I'm kind of ready for that right now. I play 3 characters right now, actually 4 characters right now, so I'd be ready for that. Or if it's let's say Marvel vs. Capcom, Hyper Fighters as some people call it. So some details on that would be pretty nice, but that's also supposed to be kind of soon. At least on the way up to EVO, which is in July. So for things beyond that, so 1, I definitely think there's going to be a season 4. I don't know if there's going to be a season 5. So what do I mean? So the seasons for the game kind of line up with the World Tour-ish, but from season 2 timing. So in season 2, they dropped Guilty Gear 2.0 in June 2022, and EVO kicked off the tour, but 3.0 started in August, so quite a bit later than 2.0. Plus, on the character select screen, I'm pretty sure they're going to fill up that whole 2 rows with characters, with DLC. So it's pretty easy to assume there's going to be a season 4, which would be, let's say for example, they have the option of doing it from June, season 2, or after EVO, season 3. Either is fine, I think. And it would be more of the usual. Characters, stages. So here's where I'm going to really reach for the stars and ask for stuff. So 1, a real ranked mode would be pretty cool. So the game's been out for a few years. I know one of their big goals was to not put stress on new players, but I think that Street Fighter 6 has a really good way of doing this where you climb through ranked, right? So you go bronze, iron, silver, all that until you get to master rank. Many Street Fighter 6 players were saying that anyone could get master rank, which is, maybe not anyone, you do have to put time into it, but it was easier to get to the highest rank in Street Fighter 6 than it was in Street Fighter 5. A lot easier. Once you get master rank, then they have an ELO system. So Guilty Gear has an ELO system, but it's fan-made. It's on a website called Rating Update. That website is pretty good. It pulls data from Celestial and Floor 10 on people you play and their rating, and you could opt out of it if you want. The only problem with it is that it changes your score from every game and not from every set, which I think bothers a lot of people. That's where a lot of the ladder anxiety, if you've heard of that, happens. If you don't know what that is, it's just people who get anxious about playing ranked, online ranked. I get anxious about playing in tournaments and competition, but as far as the ladder, I'm just whatever. Either them adding some sort of in-game ranking to Celestial that's not just who has the most wins or something would be a pretty cool addition, I think, without having to add an extra floor. I know a ton of people were asking for an 11th floor or something, so I think this would be a pretty nice compromise. Another thing I would really like from the game is some sort of additional single player content that's not a movie. So they have tried this a couple times. There's digital figure mode, and there's also the combo maker, which the combo maker is one of those features that you're man, it's a great feature. And people do use it, but people don't talk about it that much. So there is stuff that's there. And of course, again, there is a new mode they're literally adding, which is a multiplayer mode, but it looks like a lot of fun. But I would either really want some type of, because Dragon Ball has this, I thought this was a great idea, some type of party style tweaks on multiplayers that you could do with friends, or some type of single player content. Usually Guilty Gear games have a mode called MOM. I forget what it means something. I just forgot what it meant because I never play it. But when they didn't add it to Strive, there were a lot of people who were like, dude, you didn't add this mode's sick. And I'm like, I was just like, people play this? So something like that I think would be pretty cool. I don't know if 3v3 is supposed to be that, but there's a lot of ways they could do this. They could add raid bosses. That seems to be really popular in games in general. Like, not gonna lie, the other day I learned that they added raid bosses to Pokemon, and I was kind of surprised. I mean, it makes sense, especially if they add like Dynamax, Pokemon, whatever. But they could easily do that. I mean, there's raid bosses in tournaments like Nago and Gold Lewis, so they could easily add raid bosses to Guilty Gear, and I think that would be pretty something. It would be pretty fun or interesting. So something like that would be pretty cool. Also, as far as new modes, I think it's kind of hard to balance between like competitive and casual. So for example, recently I made a video about replay takeover in LordKnight. I think it's a really good feature in a fighting game that is basically for competitive players though. So you find people who are really into the genre usually asking for stuff that helps competition or like improving at the game, which obviously is really good. So I definitely think their challenge is what to add to the game, like who are the modes for. Combo Maker, low key, is like a really good feature because everybody who plays would like a feature like that. When you're new, having something in game where you don't have to go onto YouTube and type best combos or whatever in the game is super helpful, and probably would have been great if it was in the game at the beginning. And if you're a more competitive player like me, there are definitely people who will just post setups and combos in Combo Maker. And I really think the only reason people don't really talk about this is because it's in the video game Guilty Gear. So for example, they make like DBFZ2 or One Piece Fighters or whatever, and they're like, oh, we have this feature Combo Maker, people would really lose their shit. I don't know, it's a pretty rare mechanic or feature, I should say, in a fighting game. I hope if they're thinking beyond the 3v3, they're thinking about this thing about like who is actually going to use the mode. Fighting games are made for multiplayer, of course, but there are people who do single player content, and I really feel like the last thing he added was, I think it's called Another Story 2, something like that. They added a DLC story mode in like season 2, so they haven't really specifically added any single player content since then. So I would really like that long term. But yeah, that's what's been on my mind. That's what's next for Guilty Gear. Really looking forward to seeing the new character. Let me know what you guys think. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.